Hey guys, so I hope everybody is enjoying their experience with Dawn of the Hunt and Path of Exile 2. I know I am, but I also understand that this league has been one of the most drama-filled and I guess controversial leagues out of every Path of Exile league. Well, I mean, there's only been two, but still. This has definitely been riddled with a ton of drama. And I want to talk a little bit today about not just the current state of the game, but I also wanted to talk about the future state of the game and why I'm a bit concerned about the direction of Path of Exile 2. Now, this all goes back to a video I made about a month ago, and it talks about why I think that Path of Exile 2 is the future of grinding gear games and the Path of Exile IP. In that video, I talked about how I think the whole reason why that they made Path of Exile 2 was to make a game that's more accessible for newer players. Because Path of Exile 1, let's face it, isn't very accessible to a new player. There's so many systems, so many things that you need to learn that it feels like you really need to watch hours of YouTube videos to actually even penetrate the surface of the game. And Path of Exile 2 acts as a way to strip away all that complexity and make it so that players can play the game without really, I guess, reading too much about it, and they can just jump in and have a good time. Now, I still think that that is the reason why they made Path of Exile 2, and I still agree that that should be the direction that they should be taking the game. But with the recent update, that has gotten me kind of scratching my head. And also, with the recent developer notes, it's really gotten me to question something that I haven't questioned before. Now, in the past, I feel like we've always, at least for me, operated under the assumption that, oh, it's GGG. They understand what we want. They're going to go fix the game in the future. They know what to do. They know how to make the game good. Look at Path of Exile 1. Look at how much they've improved it over these years. They understand how to make games. And with this recent update in Dawn of the Hunt, and what kind of solidified it was the developer notes, it really has me scratching my head and wondering, like, do they actually know what they're doing and where to take this game? Now, let me explain, right? So, as I mentioned, I think that Path of Exile 2 is for the newer player. It's to make it more accessible for people who want to play the game for the first time. And with this recent patch, I really think that even though their goals of making the game have more meaningful combat is a good one, right? I feel like what they've done in this patch has definitely taken it in a way where maybe they think that they're bringing it in the right direction. But overall, if you step back and take a look at the big picture, it really feels very counterproductive to what they want to do ultimately with the game. So we've operated under the assumption that everything that they've made so far in terms of changes to monster life, monster damage, all this stuff is to make more meaningful combat, which I think is, I think it's good. But I don't think that they've ever wanted it to be at the expense of player experience. And we are seeing that in droves this patch. Both veterans and streamers are having a very difficult time playing the game. And some people are having a good time because they're playing some very optimized build or just playing some pretty good starter builds. But there's a lot of people who are trying to play the new class, trying to play new skills and things like that, and it's just not hitting for them. And if this is the case for veteran players, then what are the new players experiencing? You can only imagine that a new player is going to walk into that first map after the town, immediately dying, and just saying, maybe this game isn't for me. And this, as a result, is very counterproductive to what I think is the ultimate goal of Path of Exile 2, which is, again, for the new players. This makes it so that the new players can't just play whatever they want. They can't just go into the game blind, and as a result, they have to kind of go online, look for an optimized build, look for guides, whatever it might be, to actually even start enjoying the game. So this really has me wondering if Path of Exile 2, if Grinding Gear Games, really knows what they want to do with the game. And this was further kind of reinforced by their developer notes, which was released yesterday, which I'll pull up on the screen right now. So here are the developer notes that they kind of covered what they're working on currently and what they think about the state of the game. So they address some concerns from the players about the Huntress class, about minions, about the life of monsters, area sizes, and some overall just features that prevent people from playing the game comfortably. So overall, I would say that this was pretty decent. I think that especially the minion damage stuff and life stuff was addressed pretty well. The monster life, while I think is still probably a little bit too high, I think that they're making the right steps, in the correct direction. And I think that the Huntress stuff is okay. I think that this whole thing about the Coal the Weak spell, it just seems like a very much a band-aid fix. And I don't really think that this is the direction that they need to go going forward. It just feels like they're not really understanding why players don't feel like the class feels good to play. And they gave some buffs to some skills, which is always good and fun, right? But this isn't the main concern that I have, even though I do have a concern with it. The main concern I have with this note is the large area sizes section. Now, let's read this. They say that many players are reporting that areas feel that they're too large. Normally, when this is the case, the main reason is due to other concerns such as monster life or player damage being incorrect, or just a lack of entertaining content in the area. However, we're checking to see if there are any outliers that players are spending too long in to see if any changes to area size need to happen. In the meantime, we did notice that there are some areas that don't have sufficient checkpoints, so we're doing a pass of adding some more of these. Now, the reason why I'm so concerned about this is because this has been a complaint and an issue since the launch of Path of Exile 2. Since the beginning of early access, people have complained about area sizes being too big, including me. I thought that the fact that they got rid of a lot of our mobility options, in addition to making the maps so big, really makes these maps just a slog to get through. Now, I don't mind too much at the end of the day because I enjoy the game, so I'll just go through it, right? But it really is a big concern that players have. And the way that they're making it out to be, right? They say that the reason for this is probably like monster life and player damage being incorrect. That feels like they're talking about the current patch, right? People's complaints about monster life and player damage just not being in the right balance. And it makes me think that they don't understand that players have been asking for map changes since the beginning. And when they talk about lack of entertaining content in an area, I'm just thinking like, what can they add to make it more entertaining? And the entertaining content, again, isn't an issue. Some of people's favorite maps are literally maps with nothing on them. It's just like a straight line, because people at the end of the day, they come to Path of Exile because they like killing monsters. They like the feel of just completely mowing through mobs of monsters. Not really that much about these entertaining pieces of content in the game. And because of this, it really has me wondering, again, do they know what player concerns are? And do they know where to take the game going forward? Because this really feels like there was a huge disconnect between what we want and what they think we want. It's not that monster life is too high or player damage is too low. It's not that there's not enough entertaining content in these areas. It's the fact that you combine the large map sizes with the lack of mobility and just the overall maze-like features of Path of Exile 2 maps, where players feel like they're getting lost, having to backtrack a ton. All of these things combined make it so that these areas are just simply too big, and what they needed to do is make these maps smaller so that we have a better time playing them. And again, this really has me concerned. And originally, again, we all work under the assumption that it's GGG. They understand what to do. They're going to fix the game, right? But as we all know, when you have a point on a graph, you can't really tell where that point is going. It might be at a low point, but the next point might be at a higher point. But now that we have 2 points, we can see a line starting to form. And this line is definitely not going in a positive direction. So I hope that GGG can get their shit together, I guess, and really get down to the core of what the player concerns are and make these changes that I think are necessary for the game going forward, and really take a step back again, think about the big picture as to why you made Path of Exile 2 in the first place, and make changes to head towards that direction as opposed to being the opposite and being counterproductive to their overall vision for the game. But guys, that about wraps up this video. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think about the direction of Path of Exile 2. And while you're down there, feel free to hit the sub button. It lets me know that you guys are enjoying the content as well as supports the channel. And also, I stream on twitch.tv/misoxshiro every single night, so I'd love to see you guys there. But if you guys can't make it, don't worry about it. Hopefully, I'll see y'all on the next video. Alright guys, peace.